Hey guys, hello beautiful souls, hello beautiful empaths all around the world. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whichever part of the world you're watching from. Guys, I'm so pleased to share with you today in this subject which we are going to call the narcissist family and the golden child. As always, if you're new guys, if you're new to the channel, I always encourage you to like, share and subscribe. And if you've always been with me, you're most welcome back. And you know, if something makes sense to you, you can always send to your friend. Maybe you're probably one of your friends, you've met somebody who is going through narcissistic abuse, and you know you want to share some information with them because there's always something that can help somebody out there. You know what I mean? So we've all been there, most of us have been there. So that's the reason actually why we're sharing, so that other people can other souls can break free. So in today's subject, we're talking about the narcissist family. And there's a very special individual in that family called the golden child. Now, this is very strange actually, because I don't know if it's strange, or I don't know if it's strange or if it's weird. But yes, definitely you realize that when you have met these people, when you've met the narcissists, you realize that there is a special. Sometimes it depends, because you may meet them when they don't have kids, but most of the time you'll also meet them when they have children. So they could have 1 or 2 or 3 children. So it may be like there's a family, for example, maybe somebody was a single mother or was a single dad, so they've had kids before you met them. And then particularly you're going to realize that in those kids, there is a very, very special kid in those kids. Those kids, doesn't matter they have 2 or 3 or 4, there is a special particular kid that has got a very exclusive particular attention from their parents. So this depends. Sometimes it might be a single mom, so that kid has got that particular attention from the mom. If the kid is with a single dad, that kid has got a very special, exclusive, particular attention from the dad. Now, then you realize that actually most of the times, I don't know the exact reason why they call them golden child, but in my opinion, I think that those are kids who are exclusively treated like gold. You know, like they are. The reason why they call them, everybody knows that everybody adores gold, and you know, like the golden child is like a kid who is like treated, but it's by the narcissistic mother or the narcissistic father as a piece of gold. You know what I mean? So those kids, most of the time you're going to find that whatever they do, so you will find that most of those kids, whatever they do in front of their narcissistic mothers or fathers, everything is perfect. So they are completely perfect kids in front of their mothers. So they are treated like everything is okay, everything is perfect. They are treated exclusively. They like have the most privileges of all kids in the family. You will find most of the times that they are treated in a very, 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 very special way. You know what I mean? So sometimes, most of the time, you will find that actually the mothers, as their mothers, they are doing all these favors for the rest of the family members. They are doing a lot of favors for the other family members, but there's that kid, actually specific kid, that is getting exclusive. If I can rate it, if I can rate it out of 10, is like that kid is getting 8 out of 10 for whatever it is. It doesn't matter. So sometimes you find that the privileges they are giving those kids, they are very, very exclusive. You know what I mean? Because you see, the logic behind this thing is that those parents, they know who is this kid. So you know that those parents, they know that kid has got to be exclusively treated in a very special way, because sometimes you see, it may come to that moment whereby the parents may find themselves in a situation whereby they are not dating anybody. So for example, maybe they are single, maybe they've just broken up with their partners or their boyfriends, even sometimes their husbands. So you'll find that actually those kids, if those parents break up with those partners, those kids now end up becoming the what I could call as they will become the potential supply, because as those parents end up single and broken away from their relationships, they will need some sort of a fuel from somebody. They can get fuel from anything. Those people, they can get fuel from even animals. They can get fuel from dogs. They can get fuel from cats, pets. They can get fuel from anything immediately, because they have got to need some sort of a fuel for them to survive. So the golden child now, in most of the cases, why he's the golden child being groomed in a special way is that when those parents find themselves in a situation whereby they are single and there's nobody in that position to provide them with fuel or provide them with supply, those golden kids are the ones who are supposed to take up that position as a potential source of supply. So the abuse now, usually, that should have been the abuse that should have gone to the partners of those people, the old partners they have been with, the abuse now is transferred to the golden child and to the kids. So now that golden child, sometimes, most of the times actually, when those people are alone and single, it is actually that kid actually who takes up that position of being a potential source of supply until they are able to replace somebody, their ex-partners, with somebody new, for example, a new source of supply, or somebody, like a new partner or something like that. Because as soon as the new partner comes in, that's when also they transfer all the abuse to the new partner, to the new source of supply. So the golden children in the narcissistic family, they are very special children. And you'll find that the kids also, their mothers, usually their mothers tend to give them a very special treatment. Anything they need, they will come in and give them. Anything they need, anything, they will never lack anything, because those kids are usually they're like extra pampered by their parents. They are extra pampered and treated exclusively, unlike other kids in the family. If the family is a big one, they are treated exclusively unlike other kids, and they are given the bonus of everything, the bonus of the food, the bonus of the material, whatever it is they can do, the parents that they can do, provide to those kids, they will give them extra and they will give them bonus. So you'll find that actually those kids, in so doing that, because these narcissists don't have a program to, they do not have a program to bring up kids in a healthy, natural way. You know what I mean? So they do not have that ability. They do not have that programming. So they usually, most of the things they are doing, even if they don't know they are doing them, they are actually abusing their kids. So some of the times you see, if that golden child grows up, for example, you can find a situation whereby those golden children, of course, they grow up and sometimes they want to start their own families, and they want to start a family, they want to get married, they want to start to have kids, they want to have a family of their own. So you will find it very difficult for them actually to start their own family, because you see, they have been groomed for all their life in a very special way, whereby it has made them actually to become codependents. So when they become codependents, you find that even when they move on and start living with somebody new, a new partner or something like that, you will always find the mother, because the mothers, most of the time the mothers, what they do, they never let those kids go. They have already groomed them from the child they were babies, and they have taught them and trained them to be codependents on them, whereby all the time those kids, they always rely and depend on their moms. So even if they grow up and move on with their life and meet partners, new future partners, they find their mothers or their fathers still coming into their marriage and sneaking into their marriage and seeing what they are doing. What has your husband cooked for you? What did he buy for you? What did she do for you? What did he do? So they always find themselves, those kids, they always find themselves, their future families, mixed up and messed up by their own parents. So sometimes you've even had situations whereby those narcissistic mothers or even fathers, they have too much interrupted their children's marriages and children's homes, and actually they have even broken up these homes. You know what I mean? The kids have ended up breaking up with their parents, with their partners, just because their mother said something. They're broken up with their partners because their father said something, because the parents, they never actually officially let these kids go. They always tail these kids wherever they go until the last day of their life. Any partner they get, the mothers step in. Any partner they get, the fathers step in. They get married, the mothers step in. They're always in their houses, they're always in their kitchens, they're always in their bedrooms. Sometimes they have even sometimes the capacity to go as far as entering the bedrooms. Sometimes you will find the kids, they have got their own husbands. Maybe their mothers are somewhere come to visit. They have come for a visit. And you will find the parents of those kids sometimes even entering their bedrooms and disorganizing the whole things and making their own rules in the house that actually not in the house that's actually not theirs. So they will set up their own principles in the homes of those kids, even when they have grown up and they have started living their lives. Those parents keep on controlling their life, and they make sure that they never lose grip of those kids until the rest of their days, for as long as they live. So they will always be influenced by those kids, those parents of theirs, and they will never let them go. This is because that those kids actually, they are trained and they are groomed to be codependents of their parents. Maybe it's a mother, maybe it's a father. So they have been groomed to be codependents. And those kids have seen everything, because remember, those golden children, they get that kind of sometimes you can find those golden kids growing up to be narcissists themselves, because you see, the thing is, all the things they see as they're growing up, they see their parents abusing their fathers, abusing their mothers. They see their fathers doing this. They see that. So all those things they do, they see when they are kids. They are learning, and those things actually, they are sometimes one way or the other getting recorded, and sometimes they're going to play back in their subconscious mind, you see. So those kids, they grow up seeing their mothers doing all sorts of acts, and for them, because that is their only mother that they're depending on, they will actually normalize these situations to be okay, and everything will be okay, and everything will be normal. So they will be programmed by their parents. They will be programmed by their mothers or their fathers that all those things they are seeing their mothers do, because their mothers are they are disordered with that NPD, the narcissistic personality disorder. Those kids will not know that their mothers have got a disorder, a special disorder like an NPD disorder. So they will not know. So for them, they will always think that the things that their mothers are doing are actually normal. Sometimes their mothers will be bringing their new partners in the house. They will be bringing a boyfriend today. They will be bringing a boyfriend tomorrow. They will be bringing a boyfriend the next week. And they will be sleeping with those boyfriends in front of their kids. So you see, today, a narcissist will discard their boyfriend or their girlfriend. The next day, they will bring a new partner in the house in front of the kids. Sometimes even the guy or the person that has been discarded is the kid's father, for example. The mother will discard the kid's father, and the next day, that same woman will bring a new partner in the bed that the kid's father has been sleeping in. So for the kids, for them, they will see that, okay, so this is how things are. These things are normal, so my mother can do like this. So when I grow up, me too, I can do like that. So for them, they will think that, okay, so these things are normal. If anybody can do something like this, that means if me too, when I grow up, I can do something like that. I can send out my girlfriend or my boyfriend, and the next day I will bring in a new partner in the house. So for them, they grow up with the programming, because they're learning that programming from their mothers. They get that system and that belief very deep in their brains and in their minds that actually it's a normal situation. They can just discard somebody and bring somebody the next day. They can scream at their partners. They can do something. They can beat and kick around with their partners in the house in case of a psychopath. So those kids, they learn all these things from their mother from a very early age, actually sometimes even until the rest of their lives. So they learn all these things step by step for the rest of their lives until the end of their life. So they learn all these things from their parents. And at the same time, the parents, because these kids are treated in a very special way, because they are the ones who know the whole secrets. It's like they have got the key to the safe of their parents, their abusive parents. They are the ones who have the key, and they are the ones who know the codes their parents are using. They are the ones who know the secrets, the deep secrets of their parents, their abusive parents. So they are treated in a very special way, just to create that kind of a bond, a very, very deep bond with their parents. Very deep, but of course a very evil, it's like for me, I call it I don't know the right words, but in my words, I can call it a demonic bond. So the parents and those kids create that demonic bond, something like a trauma bond, whereby those kids will never detach from their parents forever. They will always be a part of their parents for the whole and for the rest of their lives until they depart from the world or they depart from this life. So they're always part of their parents. They have seen everything. They see the abuse on a daily basis. They see how their parents are abusing people. They see how their parents are abusing the pets. They see how their parents are abusing the children. So most of the time, parents who are actually narcissists, they tend to project, and actually they tend to spread. That thing is like they tend to contaminate, or they tend to infect that narcissism to the kids as well. So the kids, when they are growing up, you can find them sometimes they have narcissistic tendencies. This is not because they want to be like that, or this is not because, but it's because that's how they have grown up. That's the family. The family is a dysfunctional family. The family is dysfunctional, and all the things they are doing tend to be out of order. There's nothing what is like straight away healthy. There's no healthy way that they are brought up, and the only thing they know in their heads is the things they have seen their mothers doing, is also the things they have seen their fathers doing. And also something what even before I forget, actually, you notice, because these kids have grown up with their narcissistic parents, they have seen a lot of abuse in the house. They have seen the way those parents are abusing their fathers. They have seen the way those parents are abusing their mothers. And most of the time you will see the golden kids, those golden the golden children, you will see them, they have a tendency to isolate themselves from the family. So most of the time you see when it's a home, it's a full home, for example, their mother has moved in with a new partner, or even sometimes if their mother is still with their original father, the father of the kid. So you see that in the home, that kid is always in isolation mode. So the kid is like always detached from the home, detached from the family. He's always locking himself in the room and spending most of the time alone. So the kids tend to be those golden children. Maybe you're out there and you're dating a narcissist, or maybe that narcissist has got kids. You're going to notice that there's a certain kid in that family who is always detached from the rest of the family, who is always detached and locking himself in the room, himself or herself in the room, and just by himself all the time. And it's very difficult and very rare that you will see that kid leaving the room to come and interact with the rest of the family. You always see that kid detached and isolated, because those kids always are in isolation mode. But the whole reason why they are in isolation mode, this is because that this is due to the fact that they have seen a lot of abuse in the home, and they have seen a lot of abuse from their parents. So sometimes it has been very difficult for them to take it. It has been something they cannot take, because sometimes they are kids and the minds are not yet mature enough to handle some things. But the parents, because they do not have a healthy mind, they will program those kids to do the things they are doing. So sometimes the things they are seeing, they will be too much for the kids, even sometimes too much for them to handle. But the parents, they do not care about that, because these are narcissists. They are like these are empty shells with empty. They are like empty vessels. So anything they are doing in front of the kids, they do not care about the kids. They will know and they will think that, yes, I care about the kids because these are my kids, definitely they are the kids. But most of the program they are doing, they do not have a proper, healthy, conscious program they can train their kids to be. They can groom their kids to be in a healthy way. They do not have the capacity to do that, because they are having a disorder called the NPD. So the kids will see all sorts of things. They will see all sorts of characters from the narcissistic mothers and fathers. They will see all the abuse happening in the house, but then at the same time, they don't have nowhere to go, and they do not have anybody to rely on. They just have to stick on and to rely on their mothers or on their fathers. That's all they have, and that's all they have to rely on, because those are the people in that moment who are like their caretakers. You know what I mean? They are the people taking care of them, and they are the people actually there for them, caring for them. You know what I mean? So they don't have an option. So they just end up like following that channel that their parents are following, because they do not have a choice. Actually, I can call it, they do not have a choice other than just stay there and keep on watching all the abuse in its full form, and just continue like that until it starts to get normal, and they normalize that situation. They think, okay, so my father can always abuse my mother can always abuse my father, so my father can beat his mother, my father can say this, my mother can say this. So they grow up in that kind of a narcissistic family circle, and they learn all those things during their growth, during the time when they are growing up. And sometimes, most of the time, these golden children, they end up adapting most of these narcissistic traits, And even if they don't want to be narcissists, some of these things will play back in their adulthood when they grow up and become adults. Some of those things reflect back in their lives, and they also affect their lives in one way or the other, because sometimes you can even find that they cannot have a healthy relationship when they tend to move on, because anytime they move on, they are always influenced with their parents. Their parents are always stepping in the house. They cannot let them go because this is still my baby, that's my baby, is my golden child. So they cannot move on with their lives, and they cannot live a normal, healthy life like they should do. They should. And even if they do that, even if they try to do that, or even in some cases where by the parents, maybe they are late, they have passed away and something like that, sometimes you'll find that those kids actually, they end up also abusing their partners because they have learned all these things through their parents. So they end up finding their partners and continuing with the abuse to their parents, and that thing now starts going on and on and on. And that is the reason why actually you find that these narcissists, they have a history of narcissistic abuse in their family. So this is like a thing with the generations. It has moved from their great-great-grandparents, and it has been continuing in that family to the children, then to the grandchildren, then to the children. So it has been following that family in generations. A narcissist wasn't born yesterday. A narcissist, most of the time you can find that. It may not be all of them, but most of the cases you can find that narcissist, the abuse has got roots. That narcissistic abuse has got roots somewhere very deep. It is like in their DNA, you know what I mean? It has been following them for generations, and that narcissist has been implanted in the children's DNA, and it keeps on flowing in the family. Sometimes whether they know it or they don't know it, but they always have that narcissistic tendencies flowing and through all the future generations of that family. So it's a generational thing. Sometimes narcissism can be on a generational basis. And those kids also, of course, when they manage to get their own families and start their own family, that abuse will start again. They will also now pick one of the kids they will have as a golden child. Then they will have also somebody who they will call the scapegoat. So there are all these kind of hierarchies in the families, but the abuse will always carry on and will always continue in the family until somewhere, somehow, somebody will be born in that family who is going to break that curse, because somebody has got to be born, somebody who is actually known as the chosen one. There has got to be somebody who is born in that family who will sometime later on appear to be the chosen one, and that is the person actually who is going to break the curse. It's called like a generational curse, which has got to be broken sometime. In some point in time, it has got to be broken, and there has got to be somebody in that family who will be born specifically for that purpose, to break that generational curse that has been running in the family. Otherwise, guys, it's been the video about the golden child. I just wanted to share this with you. It's been a pleasure having you guys on board. I always love you guys coming out here and share with you guys. If I say something, it makes some sense. You may have a friend out there, they are suffering from abuse. You can always, share these videos with them, and we can always set a lot of people free. We can set the empaths free, and we can set a lot of beautiful souls free from that kind of bondage and narcissistic abuse. Other than that, guys, bless you all. Been a pleasure having you all guys on board. There's the most signing out. Peace and love you all, and see you in my next video. Bye.